Well, it is the mail you don't want to open after Christmas, after Boxing Day, the credit card statement detailing all your expenses for the holidays. For many Canadians, January is the toughest month. For the best way to stay out of debt, we're joined by Jeffrey Schwartz, Executive Director of Consolidated Credit Counseling. Jeff, this is a good time of year, I guess, to look forward and look back at the same time. What do Canadians need to do to get that fresh start in January?
Well, one of the things that we talk about with Canadians at Consolidated is the fact that we want them to create what's called maybe a personal balance sheet. So in other words, look at all the debt that they've accumulated, especially over the holidays, and check out what kind of resources or assets they have to retire some of that debt if they can do it at all. And part of that is to understand what debt you have and set some goals towards paying off that debt in a specific period of time.
So today's Boxing Day, a lot of people go a little nuts because they think, hey, that's a deal I'm never going to see again, or it's going to be another year before that goes on sale. How do you go to the mall, or how do you go online and keep from getting overwhelmed by everything?
Well, one of the things that we tell people is create a list, make a plan, and stick to that plan, because where the dangers come in, we're faced with all this temptation, all this marketing bombarded at us around we need to buy, we need new things, we need different things. But the key here is to make a list and stick to that list so that you don't get caught up in the impulse buying. And the idea behind that list, behind that plan and all the research you do is to buy things that you need as opposed to those that you just want, and maybe paying with today's dollars, but you've got to really earn those dollars back in the future.
Does it help to share that plan or that list with somebody else?
I think that'd be a great idea. Like anything else you do, if you have a partner, you're not only accountable to yourself, but you're accountable to that partner as well. And in this case, they may be very helpful in keeping you in line and staying away from all the impulse buying. So,
Jeff, how do you know if you need outside help? How do you know that you're the person who can't manage it alone, can't do it alone, and you should seek advice from an expert?
Well, I think going back to what we said earlier, understand the position you're in. How much debt do you have? How much debt, how many assets do you have to pay down that debt? And if you're a person that doesn't even look at that and says, well, you know what, I can still afford that $200 a payment each month, but really the deals that you're getting aren't deals any longer, because if you're only paying the minimum each month on the credit card, it's going to be 2 to 3 times what you originally paid for that item, that great deal you had. That's going to add up in interest.
So there are reports now that most Canadians, or your average Canadian, by the end of 2014 will be almost $30,000 in debt outside of their mortgage. How does that number sit with you?
Well, it doesn't sit particularly well. With everything that we've seen over the last couple of decades, it shows that Canadians have been accumulating this debt for a long time, and they haven't been putting any money towards savings or even paying down that debt to any large degree. And that's a concerning fact, because it's not so much the interest rates right now that I'm worried about, but we hear a lot of closings, we hear a lot of downsizing, and when someone doesn't have the savings available to them and they lose their job, or even a reduction in their income, maybe they're reducing their hours, then they're going to have trouble paying back all that debt or even servicing that debt in the future. So while interest rates are low, this is an opportune time to try and get rid of some of that debt.
All right. We will have to leave it at there, but Jeffrey Schwartz, Executive Director of Consolidated Credit Counseling, thanks for your time. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.